Welcome to the MLS Show. It is me, Baz, here for the match reaction videos after the weekend's games. This is actually getting filmed before Orlando City have taken on Portland Timbers at the Citrus Bowl. That kicks off at 1 a.m. here in the UK, which means it won't finish until around 3 a.m. And I'm not staying up to record videos and then get them uploaded because I've got to be up for work just a few hours after that game finishes. I will be watching the game, but I'll be doing Orlando-Portland reaction tomorrow in the studio with Ped. And I'll be capping on that game as we go. But let's kick off with the first game of the weekend. That was New England Revolution against New York Red Bulls on Friday night. It was a nice even game, I thought, up to a point anyway. I thought both sides certainly played the part. Some good attack and play in the game, certainly early on. It looked like an open game. It started very open. Bradley Wright-Phillips looked nice and sharp for Red Bulls early on, had a couple of shots. I thought Lee Win back. Didn't have his best game, Lee Win. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Lee Win, but he didn't have his best game on Friday night. But he's still always a threat when he's on the ball. Teal Bunbury was involved many times. You know, can he play down the middle? Is he better wide? That's the question I think that everybody's looking for Rebs. You know, and he missed a couple of good opportunities up there. But it was a good tactical game. It was nip and tuck up until half-time. It ended the first half 0-0. And then the second half, the game took on a little bit of controversy, shall we say. New England Revolution scoring a goal while I think it was Lawrence was on the floor for Red Bulls. Broke forward, the defender's down, the break, cross comes in, and it's turned home by Diego Fagundes to give New England Revolution the lead, 1-0 there. And, you know, can they go on from there? Still without a victory, of course, going into this game. So could they go on from there? Took the lead. Well, the task was made a little bit easier not long later, not long after that. After the hour mark, when Philippe was sent off by referee Geiger, not a red card for me. I had a little discussion on Twitter with somebody who felt it was a red card, given the fact he had his studs up. That, to me, is a yellow card. He was a little bit late. He caught the lad. He followed through on the ball. But, you know, we've seen things over the weekend that you start thinking, is it the referees, or are they simply just carrying out the rules? Are they simply just carrying out the instructions? Because we're seeing more and more red cards. Some of them are pathetic, really. I mean, they wouldn't be red cards here in England. They would be yellow cards, probably all over Europe. But we're seeing more and more red cards. It can't just be the referees, surely. Surely it's their instructions they are given. Anyway, Philippe is sent off for Red Bulls, making their task a bit more difficult. We've seen just mad decisions, really, from Geiger. There was one with Grella, Vince Grella, and he gets booked for someone not retreating. He has a little shove, he gets booked. But then he goes and does the lad with an elbow, and it's by letter of the law. That's another yellow card. It should be a red card. He should have been sent off. So you're looking if he should he have been booked in the first place? No, he got booked. Then he should have been booked for the elbow. So the consistency's a little bit all over the place. Anyway, you know, Red Bulls had chances to equalise. Rebs had chances on the break to kill it. It ended 1-0. New England Revolution off the mark with their first victory of the season, and it was a very, very big win and a resolute performance, and they will be delighted with that victory. I'd gone for a 2-2 draw, so shows you what I know. Moving on, Chicago Fire 1, Philadelphia Union 0. Again, this one started quite open. Some bizarre weather in Chicago. There was sun, there was wind, there was snow, there was rain, there was everything. But the Fire, you know, trying to get that victory this season, trying to really kick on. The first half was a little bit nip and tuck again. You know, Sapong got himself into some good positions at times for Union. Couldn't really take advantage of that. The same with Bonaniki. He had chances at the other end. Didn't really, you know, got himself in but couldn't really take the chances. But some good performances. Some good performances from Chicago Fire, you know, throughout the game. From Polster, Kappelhoff at the back I thought was brilliant, and Kocic, I thought he was always involved, always trying to create something. But anyway, that's it. Went in the half-time, 0-0, quite tight affair. Came out the second half, and 2 minutes into the second half, Warren Creval gets a red card. And, you know, Union are down to 10 men. And it's can they kick on from there? Then Chicago Fire giving a leg up. Paunovic's team kicked on. Kennedy Igbonichi got played through, and he was very cool with his finish to give them the lead. A nice finish, actually, back across the goalkeeper. Igbonichi, he was one who was causing problems for Union there. They pressed on. They tried to mix it up and made some changes. Pontius came out. They put people in there to try and get in amongst Chicago, who were nervy. But Kappelhoff was absolutely brilliant for me. I thought he was fantastic. Like I said, Polster in the middle, just helping everything on, nothing too complicated. And they look good at times, Chicago Fire. I seen them the very first week of the season when they lost 4-3 at home against New York City. They looked all over the place, but since then, Paunovic just got them organised, and they impressed me again, and they held on for their victory for a 1-0 victory, and they were delighted with that to get off the mark. So fair play to Chicago Fire. Moving on, Colorado Rapids against Toronto FC on Saturday night. It ended Colorado Rapids 1, Toronto FC 0. Back-to-back victories for Colorado Rapids at home. In their last home game, they beat LA Galaxy 1-0. Marco Papa with an absolute screamer in the 95th minute of that one. He was involved again in their victory over Toronto, threading a lovely ball through to Solignac, who slotted absolutely brilliantly. But again, this game affected by a red card. Giroud dismissed from the field of play after 13 minutes. But for once, for me, this one was a red card. Got himself booked for a late challenge, and then does the lad. It was a tough one because when you watch it again, he's looking at the ball, but he's jumping with his arm raised, and he goes into the kid. And for me, it was late. Yeah, he's watching the ball, but if somebody's running through and you're watching the ball and you catch them in the face with a boot, is that not a foul, not a booking, a dangerous play? He's led with his arm. For me, just my opinion, dangerous play, and he received a red card, 2 yellows there for Giroud. Off he went. Solignac then give Rapids the lead 1-0. And then the game kind of, it swung. Toronto was still pushing with Giovinco. Anything's possible. You'd always feel as though he's got something up his sleeve. Toronto pressed, looking for the equaliser. Rapids had chances to kill it off as well. But Colorado hung on for a massive victory, really, for them, and back-to-back victories. They look like a strong side this season. They look like a tough team. And Pablo was giving it the big one on the line, challenging every decision. And they were able to hang on. That's a big thing for them. And like I said in the preview video, once they get Jermaine Jones in there, Tim Howard's coming over there as well. Kevin Doyle, get him back. Things will look a lot brighter for them. But he'd made a very, very solid start to this. So they hung on to beat Toronto. Toronto, disappointment for them. Back-to-back away defeats by the odd goal. They'll be looking to turn that round. But they can't lose too much ground on the rest of the pack. On to the next one. Sporting KC 1, Real Salt Lake 2. Real Salt Lake have impressed me no end. There's surprising on this because Sporting KC going into this game had still the only MLS club with 100% record before this one. And they done all the pressing early on. All of the pressing early on. Looking very dangerous. Dom Dwyer getting slid in. Benny Feilhaber was back, and he was the one pulling the strings. He looked so much better with him in the side. He put balls through to Dwyer a couple of times, and they were really pushing and pressing Real Salt Lake back in this game. But they were always a threat on the break as well. João Plata, always dangerous, and they were coming forward and causing real problems at times for Sporting KC. And you just felt as though the way Real Salt Lake play on that counter-attack, they always had a goal in them. But it was come from a free kick, and it was Plata delivering a wonderful ball into the box, and Glad coming in to plant his header back into the far corner of the net to give Real Salt Lake the lead after 29 minutes it was. And they were dangerous after that. They were playing on the counter-attack, they were quick, they defended brilliantly, they looked solid. Sporting KC were knocking on the door, couldn't really get anywhere. And that pattern continued into the second half. It carried on. You know, Casey again getting close, Vale Harbour. Dom Dwyer always looking a threat. Zusi, you know. And again, they were causing problems for Real Salt Lake, but they were just eating it up, really. And again, always looking to threat themselves. And should have made it 2-0. Mov Sisyan had a chance but racked it against the crossbar. He probably should have slid in João Plata, who was probably better placed, and he may have made it 2-0. But it was Mulholland who stepped up from the edge of the box, and Kale just looks a little bit darker. Kale won in from the edge of the box, bounced in front of the keeper in the net for 2-0, and Real Salt Lake, another top performance for them. Sporting Casey did reduce the deficit with a penalty in the 94th minute. Benny Feilhaber slotting that penalty in, and then went diving into the net trying to get the ball, and had a little bit of a handbags with the goalkeeper. But it ended in a 2-1 win for Real Salt Lake. Incredible result for them. They've been really, really impressive so far this season. But moving on, FC Dallas against Columbus Crew. This one ended in a 1-1. I'd gone for a Dallas home victory. I thought Boston last week dispatch DC United 3-0. Columbus Crew, I did say in the preview that I expect them to get it right. They're a really good side and they will be up there, no question about it for me. But I felt this one was going to be a tough game for them. But big news before the game was that Mauro Diaz picked up an injury in training the day before, and Dallas missed him. I felt they missed his craft in midfield. Despite having lots of firepower, despite being an excellent side, they missed him. And it was Columbus Crew that took the lead with Merrim's header off a corner, Bullet header, tremendous header really, to give Columbus Crew the lead. And Crew then just looked dangerous. They played so well on the counter-attack, defended absolutely brilliantly, isolated Castillo at times, Ruti, Barrios, they were all going on threatening runs, but Crew just shut them down, defended really well. That carried on into the second half. Both teams had chances in that second half to Crew certainly to increase the lead with Camara, keeper making some good saves. But it was Dallas who levelled. Great shot from a Ruti that struck the post, and it came back out and was turned in by Akindele to make it 1-1, and that's how it stayed until the end of the game. But a good point for both sides. Columbus Crew, though, for me, looking a lot better in this one, a lot more like their old selves, and that's a really, really good point to take away from FC Dallas. Moving on then to Seattle against Montreal. I fancied Montreal going into this one. Seattle, slow start, looked a little bit wobbly. Definitely missing Obafemi Martins in that final third. Clint Dempsey, a big player for them, I'd said this week, and he came up with the goods in what was a really, really good game, to be honest. I thought Seattle were a lot better, looked a lot sharper in this one, looked dangerous going forward. Dempsey himself looking very dangerous. But he was the one who came up with the goods, and he came up with the goods in the 79th minute. Corner to the back post, in comes Dempsey with a nice downward header, getting in amongst it, and winning the 3 points for Seattle, and a massive, massive victory for them, hanging on towards the end when Piatti was knocking on doors, and Adjuro. They hung on for a very, very big win, their first win of the season, and that gets them up and running, and that will hopefully build their confidence up, and they can take it forward from there. Seattle 1, Montreal Impact 0. I'd gone for 2-1 to Impact, so it shows what I know. Moving on now to Vancouver Whitecaps against LA Galaxy. This one ended goalless. A decent game. Thought Nigel de Jong and Ashley Cole were really, really good. Really, really good for me for LA Galaxy in this one. But this, again, a red card in this one. And for me, a non-red card, a yellow card, definitely a yellow card for Labbe, was it? Labbe. But not a red. He's gone in for a tackle. He's let the ball roll across his body, and he's had to make the tackle then. And he's gone in, he's followed through, he's caught the lad, and the referee's pulled out the red card. I think it was Mike McGee caught on the ankle. It was a poor challenge, but it was a yellow for me. But the instruction for those tackle is quite clearly red, because they're all doing it. A red card. Vancouver go down to 10 men. Galaxy then control of possession, as you would expect. Both had chances again. I mean, Zard has hit a shot in that second half, which has pulled off, loaded. because I've got to be up for work just a few hours after that game finishes. I will be watching the game, but I'll be doing Orlando-Portland reaction tomorrow in the studio with Ped. And I'll be capping on that game as we go. But let's kick off with the first game of the weekend. That was New England Revolution against New York Red Bulls on Friday night. It was a nice even game, I thought, up to a point anyway. I thought both sides was involved many times. Can he play down the middle? Is he better wide? That's the question I think that everybody's looking for Rebs. And he missed a couple of good opportunities up there. But it was a good tactical game. It was nip and tuck up until half-time. It ended the first half 0-0. And then the second half, the game took on a little bit of controversy, shall we say. New England Revolution scoring a goal while I think it was Lawrence was on. Welcome to the MLS Show. It is me, Baz, here for the match reaction videos after the weekend's games. This is actually getting filmed before Orlando City have taken on Portland Timbers at the Citrus Bowl. That kicks off at 1 a.m. here in the UK, which means it won't finish until around 3 a.m. And I'm not staying up to record videos and then get them up. Certainly played the part, some good attack and play in the game, certainly early on. It looked like an open game. It started very open. Bradley Wright Phillips looked nice and sharp for Red Bulls early on, had a couple of shots. I thought Lee Win back. Didn't have his best game, Lee Win. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Lee Win, but he didn't have his best game on Friday night. But he's still always a threat when he's on the ball. Teal Bunbury on the floor for Red Bulls. Broke forward, the defender's down, the break, cross comes in, and it's turned home by Diego Fagundes to give New England Revolution the lead, 1-0 there. And, can they go on from there? Still without a victory, of course, going into this game. So could they go on from there? Took the lead. Well, a task was made